Hey, listen.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Allison. If not, thank you so much for tuning back in. If you haven't already watched my other video, I recently got breast reduction surgery. Today is exactly a month and 3 days post-op, and I just wanted to come on camera and talk a little bit about my experience, and also just like sharing with you guys basically like some things that would be good to know, and like some things that I wish I knew about the procedure and the recovery. So my recovery is going great so far. I had to go to the doctor's office today because one of my boobs was like rejecting the sutures, and I had like internal sutures, so they were kind of like coming out externally. And yeah, basically I was told like the incision would heal over it if the sutures were on the way. Like it's either my body dissolved them or they just needed to be taken out. So I went and got those taken out, and yeah, I feel so much better. I felt a little bit of pain like right after that happened, but I feel so much better now. I guess that's also like one of the things that you need to know, is that sometimes you can have like suture rejection, which is normal and it can happen. Just like talk to your surgeon about it if that does happen. So going right into my experience, to start with, I'm going to talk about like how I got this procedure approved through my insurance. I did go through my insurance because it was medically necessary, and I've heard of some insurance company or even some surgeons requiring that people see like a chiropractor and like have physical therapy before you're approved for the surgery. But I did consult with my insurance and I let them know everything that happened, and also I was honest with them that I wouldn't be able to like attend physical therapy consecutively just because I have like a young child, and with work and like taking care of a baby, there's just no way I could see myself doing that, because I know like a lot of physical therapy appointments are during the week, which was just something I wasn't going to be able to do. But my back was still killing me. Like my back was not going to wait for me. So the insurance company just sent me like a list of surgeons in my area, and I went down that list, and I basically went on like my insurance company's website and I typed in the procedure name, and then also I was just like getting the names from there, and then like counter searching in Google, because I believe in reviews, and I honestly feel like for a procedure that's so big, I needed to feel like I was in good hands. So I read a lot of reviews and I settled on 3 doctors. The first doctor that I called said they kind of did insurance cases like only 1 per month, so they were kind of booked out like further out into the new year, which is like 2023, and I really wanted to get my surgery done before the year ended, also just for like insurance purposes and stuff. Like it was going to be complicated to try and do it into the new year. And so that doctor kind of like was automatically out of the picture, but he did have great reviews. So I had 2 consultations with 2 doctors, and the first doctor, he has amazing reviews. I may or may not like put his information like down below, I'm not sure, but yeah, the first doctor had amazing reviews. Unfortunately, after my consultation, I was advised that they do not process insurance payments or claims anymore for breast reduction surgery, just because like they didn't like that the insurance kind of like dictated how much needed to be taken out. And I think the surgeon kind of like wanted both him and the patients to have like, you know, control over how much tissue was taken out. So that only left me with 1 doctor, and I also loved his reviews. I had a consultation. I loved how my consultation went, and whenever I went to them, I kind of just explained everything that had been going on. Not only was I experiencing like back pain from the size of my breasts, but I was also getting like rashes underneath the breast, and I had previously seen a dermatologist like early in the year for that, and I was actually like on prescription topical cream just to kind of like help with those rashes. So that was also helpful, I think, because I remember the insurance coordinator at my surgeon's office asked me for like the prescription name, and just to also show to the insurance company that like even though I didn't go for like physical therapy, I was having like other issues with my breasts, and I did try to like remedy them. So after my consultation, they asked me if I wanted to proceed with the surgery, and I told them absolutely. So I was initially advised that like it could take like 4 weeks for the insurance company to respond, but it actually took 4 days, which I was very excited about. 4 days later, they called me and I scheduled my surgery, and I was very, very excited, but also at the same time, like very anxious, just because I know like it's not like a small procedure, and it's life-changing, and now I know it's like, you know, in a good way. But as somebody who had never had major surgery, it was still something that was like very scary for me. So fast forward, I think I had like a pre-op appointment 2 weeks before my surgery just to make sure everything was okay. I actually had a cold like 2 weeks before my surgery, and they told me to like check back in with them a week before, because if I didn't get better, then they would have needed to move the surgery, just because I could not like go under anesthesia with like a cold and a sore throat and stuff like that, which totally makes sense. So I went to like medicating my body for that next week. Like I was drinking ginger, lemon, honey, like all the concoctions, all the remedies, NyQuil, like all the cough medication and cold medication that I could just to feel better. I did that, and a week later, lo and behold, I was so much better. So fast forward to the day of my surgery, I was really excited, but also like really scared. Like I was like this close to like chickening out, and I just had to like have a pep talk with myself, because I was like, Allison, you want this, and you know you need to get this. So I mean, like, you've come this far and you've done all of this work, so might as well go ahead and get it out of the way. So the day of my surgery, my partner went with me, because you do need somebody to like drive you back from your appointment, obviously. So when I went into my clinic, I went there like around 9-ish, even though my surgery didn't start until like right before 1 p.m. So I was like sitting down on my phone for a very long time, getting even more anxious. But yeah, whenever I got over there, I just had like some day of surgery paperwork to fill out, and then I was led over to a pre-op waiting room. And before I was put under, my surgeon came over to like discuss my size one last time. I initially wanted to go down to a 34B, because that's what I was like a few years ago. But on the day of surgery, I kind of changed that size to a 34C, just because I thought it would fit me better and I would be happier with that. And my surgeon agreed, and he was happy to do it and like change the size. So we went over my size and everything. The nurse took my stats. I got a nice heated blanket, and I just sat on my phone, honestly, waiting for the OR to get ready. I just remember like my anesthesiologist asking me if I felt tipsy. Before you know it, I was awake from my surgery. I didn't even realize like so much time had gone by. I believe my surgery in total took 2 hours, or maybe like 2.5 hours, which I think is like really good timing. So for exactly what I got, so I got like obviously a breast reduction surgery, and I had like lollipop anchor incisions. I did not have a free nipple graft because I did not need it, because I wasn't getting like that much tissue taken out. So I actually had like 479 grams taken out from one breast, and like about 460 in the other breast. And I think my insurance had like a minimum of 460 for the tissue that they wanted to be taken out. And then I also got lipo on my sides right here, just because I didn't want to have dog ears. And then also like my surgeon recommended it during my consultation, because he just said it made like the results look better. And I did have quite a little bit of like fat on the sides here, as well as like right here. So as for the lipo, I had to pay for that one out of pocket, because it's a cosmetic procedure. The insurance was not going to cover that. I did get a discount on it, because I was getting like the breast reduction, and if you do it together with another procedure, like the office will give you a discount on it. And from the prices that I had seen just from like other people getting lipo, I believe mine was like a great price. I believe it varies depending on like how much fat they need to take out for the lipo. Mine ended up being $2,000 out of pocket, and that was after the discount. All right, now let's get into the fun part, and this is the recovery. Oh my god. Okay, so I have a few things written down on my phone, just because I didn't want to forget anything, and I wanted to like make sure that I cover everything. There are a few things that I kind of like knew about and was expecting, and there were a few things that hit me like, what? I'm gonna start with like the things that I knew and like I was expecting during my recovery. So the first one would definitely be like the no laying down. So I knew that because I was told before my surgery that I couldn't lay down after surgery, and I needed to like prop up a lot of pillows. Yeah, it was also in the post-op instructions that I was gonna need a lot of pillows for the next few days after surgery. I ended up sleeping upright, I believe, for like 1.5 weeks, just because whenever I tried to like lay down flat completely, I was just still in a lot of pain. I felt a lot of pressure like on my chest, and whenever I talked to my nurse about it, she told me to just basically go ahead and like lay down flat whenever I felt comfortable doing it. So yeah, for me that was like about 1.5 weeks, which I've heard a few people say like it's a couple of days, and it wasn't. I could not see myself doing that in a couple of days. And then the next thing obviously was just like you needed to wear button downs and like zip up tops. I also hear people say that you need to wear these for like a couple of days after, and that was not really accurate in my case. I feel like honestly for a lot of things I would even say like 2 weeks just to be safe, but I mean everyone's like pain tolerance is different. Maybe even like a week I feel like is a little bit more realistic, because I was not able to like reach even like my hair. I could not put my hair up in a bun. I was not able to lift my arms up like for a very long time, so I needed the button downs and the zip up tops like way longer than what some people had said, which was okay. I feel like I kind of prepared for it. I honestly saw myself doing it for like a week, but I ended up doing it for 2 weeks. It's so much better now, which brings me to my next point. So your post-op instructions say that you need a support person to be with you like the whole time for 48 hours, which I did have that. However, I feel like that's not very realistic. I don't think like breast reduction surgery, just like with a lot of other invasive surgeries, is surgery that you kind of like go back to like, you know, normal after 48 hours. So I actually think you need a support person way longer than the 48 hours. I wasn't even able to like bathe myself for a few days after. You need help like changing out tapes and stuff, and I wasn't even allowed to carry anything over like 5 pounds for the first 2 weeks. So I can imagine like if you're doing that by yourself, sometimes that could be like a gallon of milk that feels like it's just too heavy to carry, or even just like simple things around the house. And I have a kid, so I definitely would not have been able to do that like without having a support person. You definitely need a support person for way longer than the 2 days that they tell you though, for sure, because the recovery feels long and you will need help with a lot more things than you think that you do. I would say if you're planning on getting the surgery, like please make sure you have like a strong support system. You need it, especially like physically and even sometimes emotionally, because also sometimes people get post-surgery blues, which I don't think I really experienced, or maybe I was just like too tired to even notice. And I also had my surgery like around the holidays, so I kind of felt like I had like the holiday season and the holiday spirit kind of like as a pick-me-up, but I'm not exactly sure how I would have fared otherwise. But yeah. So another thing is, which I'm not exactly sure if I saw this being mentioned. I mean, it's pretty obvious that you're not able to drive for a few days, except it's not a few days. I wasn't comfortable driving for like 3 weeks. And I know for like my surgeon's office, the official timeline they give you to be able to drive is once you're not on like prescription medication anymore and you're not in like a lot of pain, then you can go ahead and drive. But I honestly didn't feel comfortable driving. And even at 3 weeks, like when I first started driving, I could feel it. So I'm like a little bit over 4 weeks today, and I'm still like avoiding driving unless I absolutely need to. So that's one thing to keep in mind, which is why I feel like this is a surgery that like you just need somebody, you need help for the surgery, like a lot of help. So the one thing that like I was prepared for but like not really prepared for, like I was informed about it, but like how bad it was caught me off guard, was the constipation. I have had a child before, and childbirth makes you like really constipated, but the constipation I had after this surgery, it makes childbirth constipation look like a joke. Like, it is bad, okay? The constipation was bad, and I know it's because of like the anesthesia as well as like I think the hydrocodone, and like a combination of those two is just terrible. Like, if you have not heard it from anybody else, I am here to warn you. The constipation you get after breast reduction surgery is no joke. Like, it was very humbling, very humbling. And then the next thing is something that you hear talked a lot about whenever there's a conversation about like breast reduction surgery, but that's going to be like the numbness, or basically like the loss of sensation. So I still don't have like any sensation in my nipples. I can kind of feel like pain sometimes if like something brushes over them roughly. So I feel like I have a little bit of feeling in them. The right one more than my left one. Like, and my left one, I'm there sometimes like, are you alive? But the numbness also, I mean, I don't know why I didn't know that, but it wasn't just with like my nipples like I thought. It was actually like all of my breasts, and I've gotten feeling back for like most of my breast area, except like the right breast I've noticed is like pretty numb, especially around the incisions and kind of going down like the center of the breast where I have like the incision in the middle. Like that whole part is numb, and including like the skin on top where I got lipo, which is like so weird because like whenever I press down to like do the massages for my lipo, I feel the pain, but like the skin on top is like numb. I don't know if that makes sense, but Yeah, and I read a lot of like other people's stories and experiences about breast reductions. I did before my surgery and I still do it right now just because I feel like those journeys are like interesting, and it's usually helpful most of the times whenever I read about like other people's stories that are further along in like the recovery journey than I am. And I've heard like different people say they never got their sensation back, like even after a year. So I'm not sure if my sensation is gonna come back. That's something that I knew about before I got my surgery, and I was still willing to take the risk, so we'll see. Alright, and then I only have one last thing to share with you guys from this list, and that would be the nerve pain. So I was informed about the nerve pain before my surgery, and it was also like in my very thick booklet of like post-op instructions, post-op care, and kind of like what to expect. So I knew to expect like some nerve pain, but it's not anything I've ever experienced before, so I had no idea to what extent. And when I tell you, it just like caught me off guard. And even with like pain medication, I kind of feel like the nerve pain still found a way. I didn't really experience a lot of the nerve pain honestly until after I stopped taking the prescription medication. I don't think that has like a lot to do with the medication, but just kind of like the numbness going away and then like your nerves starting to heal. So obviously like that pain is normal and it's a good thing because it just like means the nerve endings are healing, but that doesn't make it any more comfortable. And yeah, I feel like for the nerve pain, I had like instances where I would just be sitting there and then the next second I'm like shouting from the pain, just because it was like very random and it was like very sharp. Good thing it didn't last too long like whenever it was there, but it was just kind of like sharp shooting pain. If you've experienced nerve pain, just kind of like imagine that in your breasts, which I feel like breasts are already like very sensitive area to pain. Yeah, that pain was like next level. I don't have that much nerve pain anymore. It still happens like once in a while, but it doesn't happen as frequently as it did between like week 2 and week 3, so that's a good thing. So just talking about like to where I'm at right now, so my incisions are healing amazingly, except like, you know, the sutures that were rejecting, and I was told like after they've taken out those sutures it should just kind of basically like heal properly now because there's kind of like nothing in the way. My other breast, which is like weird, did not have any suture rejection, but the incisions are kind of like darker on one side versus the other side. And so far after experiencing my surgery, honestly I would 100% do it again. I think it is totally worth it. I feel the relief already like on my back. Just the fact that I don't have back pain anymore from like my breast, like to me, I would do it 100 times over. And I've gotten some people ask me like, what would I do if they grew back? Honestly, that depends. That depends on like how much bigger they got. That depends if like they started to like give me trouble again. I'm not opposed, even though I'd rather not, like I'm not opposed to getting like a second reduction. Knock on wood, I don't ever have to go down that route because yeah, it's not an easy surgery. The recovery's rough and it was very long, so I would rather not be in that position again. But obviously like if I was put into that position, I would consider getting another breast reduction. And for like the breasts growing back, from everything that I was told from like my surgeon and also just from like hearing from other people, it also depends on like your fat composition before the surgery. That's not going to change. So if you're somebody that generally gains weight in their breasts as well whenever they gain weight from with like the rest of their body, that's not going to change after your surgery. So like if you do gain weight after your surgery, it's still going to go to your boobs because that's how it was before the surgery, if that makes sense. I'm actually not even sure like exactly my fat composition. I actually feel like my breasts getting bigger was a combination of like being pregnant, like pregnancy hormones and breastfeeding, as well as like just regular weight gain. I feel like I also gained some weight before I got pregnant, and I went up a couple of sizes before I even got pregnant, which that just kind of like quadrupled after I got pregnant. So it's going to be interesting if I got pregnant again, just to see like what that would do to my breasts. I hope they don't change like that much, but we'll see how everything goes. I guess only time will tell. But I have gotten to the end of this video. If you made it through to the end, thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up if you found anything in this video helpful. Leave me any comments or questions that you may have down below about like my experience in my recovery process. If you're not subscribed already, I hope that you stick around, and if you already are, thank you so much for subscribing, and I hope to see all of you guys in my next video. Bye.